Hello friends, it's been almost an entire year since my very popular video on jade care premiered. Today, almost 365 days later, we're going to show you what can happen to your jade plants if you don't give them all the attention that they necessarily deserve. Stay tuned. Phototropism is a term used to describe a plant's bending towards the light, as light is the first step for photosynthesis, which drives the plant's energy and food. And naturally it wants to bend towards that source of energy so it can make its food. Here we have this beautiful jade plant which you saw me working and trimming a year ago. Now this has essentially sat in one room unattended for 6 months. This year I changed jobs. This used to live in my office, and it had a beautiful southern facing window, and I turned it quarterly and I watered it every 2 weeks, and it was wonderful. It was growing very full and upright. Recently I started working at home, actually for a tech company, and I don't have many southern facing windows in my house, and therefore this has been in a western facing window. And it's kind of a room, we've called it the room of requirement, a la Harry Potter, just where things go to disappear, and essentially forgot about it. So this was in that window, the window was where you are, and there it sat. And you can see how nicely it grew towards the light. Sunshine. Bending towards the sun. Phototropism. Here we've got beautiful growth. I would say we've got 3 to 5 inches of growth depending on the node, all towards the light. The buds are very small because not only was it not getting proper light this time of year, but it also wasn't getting much water. You'll notice down here that the plant is very dry. That dryness, of course, is because I haven't watered it. But that goes to show you the resilience of jade plants. These are meant to be drought-resistant plants. The worst thing you can do is overwater them. You see how well they stand without being watered for a long time, though. This plant hasn't gotten much water 5 months, 5 or 6 months. And actually this is an optimal time to transplant it. You'll see if I gently grab towards the bottom, I can actually pull the entire plant out. It's lost, the soil and moisture is all sucked up together as the root system is trying to get the most out of what it's got. This is a great time to transplant it into a new pot, which I believe I'm going to. This is a size that I think is going to be good enough. I'm going to get a nice ceramic pot that it will then live in for the rest of its life. But I just figured I should show you this because phototropism was something that intrigued me early on. I remember learning about it in a Bill Nye the Science Guy video, and I just thought it was so cool that you can tell sunlight was right here, and they just went up right towards the sun. If you look at it from the rear, you can see that actually the plant itself looks good. There are no more signs of mealy bugs or any sort of problems that I was having before, and you can see that the undersides of the leaves look nice and healthy for the most part. This is chaos. This plant is actually one of the clippings from the bigger plant from last year's video that I ended up transplanting into a smaller starter pot, and it grew nicely. I put 4 shoots in here, 2 of which survived, as did some grass seed and whatever else was blowing in the wind over the summertime. During the summer, I tend to let these plants go outside. It's nice and warm enough up here in gardening zone 5A during the summer. And since these pots have drainage, I don't water them. I let the rain do the watering itself, and they get plenty of sunlight and lots of heat, and they love it. We're going to have a follow-up video this summer in August or the end of July so you can see how full all of these plants get. You'll notice they have nice pink edges around the tips. That's just what this kind of crassula does. There'll be lots of new growth, and it'll be upward. So this particular plant, you see how it's growing in all sorts of directions, kind of through itself. I can tell you that this fell over in the wind a couple times. It would fall over, I'd ignore it for a week or 2, I'd pick it up, set it down. It would fall over, pick it up, set it down. So it's kind of growing in and amongst itself, and I think that's fascinating. I'm going to encourage this chaotic pattern and see if I can braid these branches. I really don't know. Do you have chaotic pattern jade? Have you purposefully tried to grow them together in a bonsai style? I would love to see those examples. But you can see here, this plant is so dry that it's trying to send down roots into any soil that might be below. If you look right here, this is a great example. You can see the roots coming right off. Look at those roots. They're about 1 centimeter long, shooting downward. If I were to clip those and drop them in the ground, they would start brand new plants. So chaos can be exciting. Here's another beautiful jade plant. It's of a different variety. You can see the leaves are much longer and the stalks are thicker than the other plants that I've shown today. However, this is experiencing quintessential dehydration. I'll bring you in a little bit closer. You can see how these leaves are thin. If I put my hand to them and I just squeeze them gently, they're more flaccid. You see that? And your jade plant shouldn't be this way. If this were a very healthy, well-watered plant, there would be more rigidity in the nodes given the water inside the plant cells. As this is going into, let's say, survival mode, it is trying to concentrate the water, use it when needed, so some of these limbs will go limp. Despite that, there's still plenty of rigidity in the stalk. It's looking just fine. In about 2 weeks' time, this will perk right up if I give it some sunlight and start watering it again. But as with the other video, you can see that it's completely separated from its pot. This is an optimal time if you want to transplant, go ahead. You can see just a little bit of the roots on the outside starting to spiral around, and that's a good indication that this is too small of a vase for this plant. You don't necessarily want your roots to be growing in a circle because they're not going to optimize the nutrients in the soil for uptake to feed the plant. So I think it's time for this very large jade plant to get a new pot. But I thought this was a terrific example to show you of the soft leaves, almost velvety texture, as is key for dehydration. So now you've seen 3 examples of different things: extreme phototropism, dehydration, and just chaos. But you know what? Come 6 months, on my follow-up video at the end of the summertime, you're going to see these plants looking amazing. So have you experienced these 3 different things before? What problems do you have with your jade plants? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you'll subscribe, like, comment below, and until next time, bye!